Welcome back.
Andrew. Sorry. I was just gonna let Andrew know that we were ready because last time he wasn't.
Yeah.
I do
Listen,
remember
why?
that.
Why did you have to do that? I was going to interrupt on purpose when it was Josh's turn.
Welcome back, one and all, to the My Mom Has Tourette podcast. I am your host, Nathan.
Josh.
And Andrew.
And I am Nathan. And today, this week, in this month, this year, this decade on planet Earth, one of our mothers went to school and trained to become a police officer. That's pretty wacky.
Last week, one of ours was robbed. This week, one of ours was trained to be a cop.
I wonder if it was the same one. They were like, I'm not dealing with getting robbed anymore. I'll just pull out my police gun and pew pew.
My baton.
Maybe even one of our mothers was trained to catch the other mother.
Oh, the first mother
Toss?
descended into a life of crime, and then the second mother is trying to get that first mother. The third one,
And then the third mother's just like a homemaker or something.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fair. Yeah.
I took catching the other different. Like, here, take her, catch.
Ha! Like
They're
a
just
baby.
playing hot potato with our mothers.
Does take training.
First off, gentlemen, is how was each of your guys' week? I know that we had a little bit of an eventful week and weekend. There might have been some short things going on, some short problems you might have encountered. I don't know. Maybe
First of all, that's
Tiny
sizist.
issue.
Yeah. Go ahead, young Skywalker.
So, my wife, like we talked, bought us tickets to see Midget Wrestling. And it did not disappoint.
No.
I'm very excited.
I can't say on this podcast what was screamed the entire time. But let me just say, everybody in that building was chanting, "Grab him by the blank and twist it," from that viral video where a fan recorded another fan. And that I told Andrew at one point, I said, who would have thought that our generation would have been known for yelling that at sporting events?
Oof.
And let me tell you, the audience demanded, and they delivered.
They beat each other with a metal trash can lid. One of them floor is wet signs, a cookie tray that they dented, a toy golf club, a pool cue. I feel like I'm missing something.
Just probably the largest, roundest object that was there.
A widow puppy?
No, they didn't let live animals.
That's fair.
Yeah,
It was
Josh,
good.
what was the largest, roundest object that they smashed in someone's face? Why don't you let them know?
Josh's bald
They
head.
did it twice, and it was a human butt. At the end, there's this midget who looks like a medium-sized person.
He's a hefty fellow.
His name is Meatball. And he pulled down his little wrestling outfit,
His little
pulled
singlet.
his massive butt cheeks out, and just jumped butt first into this dude. They won the match. Then they started auctioning off stuff at the end for people to bid on. And somebody paid $175 to have their friend pinned down in the wrestling arena by the other midgets, while Meatball pulled his pants down again and shoved his butt cheeks on the dude's face for like 5 seconds.
Why would you want that to happen?
They guys got a thing
And
for
I-
Meatball.
And I gotta let you know, Meatball might be a little man in stature, like in height, but he was not a little man in width or depth by any sense of the word. He was
hefty.
He was packing. He was a thick boy.
It was funny. It was very entertaining. Of course, one of the midgets made fun of me. They made fun of my beard while they were doing their little prance around the ring, and everybody lost it. And then a midget, was arguing with the front row people, kept calling them names, and he'd come down off the ring and get in their face and start shouting at them. So it was funny. It was good. Each match would pull each other out of the ring, and then they'd walk through like all the audience, just like hitting them off of stuff, hitting them off the tables, the desk, the chair, pushing them on the ground, and then they would drag them back to the stage and put them back on there, and then they'd wrestle some more.
It just sounds.
It was funny.
Sounds like some kind of heaven.
I didn't know what to expect.
Chaos. Yeah, I also didn't expect that after they dented a trash can on little people, that they would auction it off for $750.
I'm not surprised.
That was interesting.
Yeah, they auctioned off a brand new, like, it was probably $40 aluminum trash can that they put him. What did he do? Was the guy laying on the ground? He put the trash can on the guy, or did he put the guy on the trash can and then jump on him?
He put the trash can on the guy and then jumped on the trash can.
And he smashed the trash can in, and they auctioned off the trash can, and somebody bought it for $700.
It was ridiculous.
That is incredible.
Now, the amazing thing about that is that $700 goes to the Wounded Warrior Project.
So, that's cool. Yeah.
So, it's worth it, but just $700 for a non-usable trash can? Jeez.
What about the Damaged Dwarf Project? Are they doing anything about that? Or is it just going to Wounded Warriors?
Maybe it's probably just Wounded Warriors.
All right,
yeah.
Well, I had a much less eventful week. As in, I didn't go see midgets beat each other senseless. However, I visited family in Pennsylvania and in Tennessee. I'm in Georgia at the moment, although by the end of this month, we are moving back to Tennessee, so there's a lot going on right now. And I helped my father-in-law clean out his garage, so that was fun. And we just kind of had a good old time spending time with family. Went to my family's 4th of July party in good old Pennsylvania, and I invited about 8 of my friends to come, and 0 of them showed up. And it was like the just me sitting alone at a table with like the party hat on and like the half-eaten cake, and there's just no one else around me. But it was honestly, I mean, a lot happened, but it was nothing of that much of note to talk about on the podcast. It sounds like you guys had the real winner here. That's for sure.
So, while we're talking about the weekend, I have another point that I was going to bring up later, but we took the girls to meet my brother-in-law because he was going to take them to see fireworks on Tuesday, and I had to leave to come back home. And we passed the Sheets, and there was a line of people trying to get into the Sheets. And I'm like, what the heck are they trying to do? So I ended up leaving like 10 o'clock at night to come home. And it's a 4-hour drive. And I stopped at the Sheets by our house to get gas. And I'm sitting at the light getting ready to drive across the street to get into the Sheets. And the sign is $1.77 for everything. I'm like, is the sign broken? Did gas just go down out of nowhere? Like, did I miss something on the news? So I pull in, and like, it's a madhouse. Now this Sheet has like people waiting, and I'm like, what the heck? Pull in, and you know how the little buttons like 87, 88, 89, all of them have stickers that say sold out. I'm like, what the heck? And then I thought about it because I think Sheets has done it before. $1.77. It's probably because with gas it's $1.77.6, which is $17.76, and that's what they dropped the price down to. But they sold out of gas fast.
Oh, yeah.
And so for one day, they lowered the price on the 4th of July to $17.76 for the 4th of July. And they sold out everywhere, like almost immediately.
Plot twist, next year they're going to sell gas for $17.76 on the 4th of July. And it's not, they're going to not get a drop out of it.
I don't know.
I hope they
People
do
would
that.
still probably.
You know what was highly unfortunate about that, though? Aside from the huge lines, diesel was not $1.77, which is the fuel that my car takes. So I did not go get gas on the 4th of July.
That is depressing, and I am very sorry for
Indeed.
you.
That is okay. If we're to segue into how my week went, obviously you don't top the midget wrestling. I was there as well, so that was definitely the highlight of my time. I did not go see fireworks or anything because I was scheduled to work on the 4th of July, so I was not having a grand time. And I mean, outside of the midget wrestling, I didn't do a whole lot outside of work. So yeah, watching midgets hit each other and watching a midget do the worm live was pretty fun. I did not expect that.
Oh,
to be
yeah, that was funny. I
that
forgot
flexible. That was pretty cool. Not
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I'm not referring to the midget as a that. That's rude. But
Well, when they're
the
that short, is it not called
individual-
doing the maggot?
Wow. Wow. It's doing the life-sized earthworm. It's messed up. But yeah,
So-
I didn't do much of anything outside of that.
We saw fireworks on Saturday.
Hmm. I got
they
to
were
hear
down the
fireworks at 8 a.m. in my street. Like, why are you lighting off fireworks so early when it's light outside?
Because they just want to hear it go boom.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's exactly it. Apart from that, I actually have something to add.
Uh-oh.
Let's go.
Yeah. Just yesterday, I was actually swimming with my in-laws' family. It was I guess you would call them aunt and uncle in-law. They have a pool that my in-laws will go to sometimes and swim in. And so we all were swimming together. And my wife was just chilling. You know, she was like laying back and looking up at the sky. And I was like kind of beside her. I had my glasses on in the pool because I like to be able to see, you know, that's always a nice thing. And unfortunately, I was cursed with this. So, out of nowhere, I'm sitting here minding my own business in the water. Just a hand comes right at my face. I get a big old slap, and my glasses are in the water. In this arm of my glasses, this bit of the frame was still just on my face, like in behind my ear. I am obviously dazed and confused, a little bit annoyed that my glasses just broke. So I fish him out of the water, and turns out the little plastic piece on the side of the arm there, the leg, the appendage, broke off. So the metal that it kind of sticks into, that lets you like be attached to the frame, no longer was attached to the frame. And I kind of had to figure out, or I asked my wife, you know, why did you just beat me senseless? I don't know what happened. I don't know why she like flailed her arm out like that. Maybe she like thought she was going to drown and was going to try to grab.
It was her down smash.
Oh, she has been practicing Smash Brothers. I tried to tell her that we don't have Smash moves in real life, that it's like just a game thing and that you can't like up air.
Say like right now.
I think my up air, like in real life, like if I jumped, I don't think I could do a kickflip like some do. I think it would be like a kind of like a 1-2 in the air, but only when you're in the air. So yeah, I guess that might have been her down smash. That's fair. So yeah, I had to essentially go to a dentist. I had to go to the eye doctor. Yeah, I can't speak or think ever. And just for them to tell me that they can't fix it on site and I can't do an appointment day of the hair in my mouth, nor can she make an appointment for me. So now I'm making an appointment for Tuesday to get my eyes checked out. It's been over 2 years, so now I have to be like, oh, has my prescription changed? And then it's a whole process, and they'll eventually get me glasses. But that happened. My glasses broke, and I super glued them, so hopefully they will last a few weeks. That's all.
I love how you went to the eye doctors and they couldn't fix it on site.
I guess they just don't. I don't know. They just don't like when the plastic
sight,
piece.
like eyeball. There it is. He finally got the connection. Yeah, where's that little? But we needed that here.
You see, I really appreciate anytime someone makes a joke like that. But I didn't know you could actually. Well, I don't know how to do it, so I'm not good at it. Perfect. Thank you. I'm glad you were the master of sound effects. We might need to add some of those in there from time to time. But man, good joke.
First of all. Oh, there's something on the desk here.
Yes, it happens.
Do either of you have a prayer request?
I can't think of any for anyone specifically right now.
Well, I didn't mean anybody. I mean you.
Just you.
Just me? Nope.
What about your mother?
What about my mother?
Well, I do hope that my mother's Tourette's are one day handled. Maybe not the best choice of words, but
I imagined like RDR2 hog tying someone's mother. Gotta get this handled.
Apart from that, I'm looking for a job in programming, and so that would always be something that I would ask for prayer for, because I would definitely like to get into that field. And once I finally get the first job, I think it'll be a little bit pretty solid after that. So I always appreciate that.
No doubt.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Split.
I've
Okay.
also come down with a case of beard, and I don't know if that's contagious, but
I like yours is pointy. Like yours.
Mine is like weird. It's like two-pronged. Like,
yeah.
See that? I don't know why. It's like a dwarf thing, really.
Andrew, you should Billy Goat him.
Billy Goat him.
When
I
you
should know what this is.
Bite his beard and go, ha.
Oh, nice. I mean, you're the one who's underneath of him right now, so you could probably do it.
Joshua,
It's a little weird.
Do you have any prayer requests?
We were
Apparently
looking
his
for
mental
a
state.
house. Yes. My mental state. We all need some help.
Well,
Amen, brother.
I didn't even want to throw that in there because it was so obvious.
Just because it's obvious doesn't mean it doesn't need to be pointed out.
Yeah, we're also in the middle of a big move and looking for a house too, I guess. So
Yeah.
we're both looking for a house in a terrible market. Good luck to us.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's all I have. But now, news stories.
Gaming news.
Say that again?
Yeah, I didn't hear nothing.
Yeah, say what? No, what'd you say, Josh?
News stories.
News. I'll just use that. I'll use that, and I'll put the graphic on the screen. I'm sure you guys saw it. All right, so the first gaming news section of the section week podcast episode. I'm pulling up the article now, and it does appear that I have internet connectivity problem. So it is confirmed. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 does not support mouse and keyboard on PC.
I knew you guys would like these news stories.
That's insane. How do you do that? How do you? Oh,
So you're saying the Metal Gear Solid... Okay, that's the title. That's the headline. Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 1 will not support mouse and keyboard on PC. Who ports a game to PC, ports the controller option, and says, "Yeah, that's what people normally use on PCs, right? They just kind of use controllers. What else would there be?
So
But
the
controllers.
thing for this though that makes it funny is that's all you use on a computer is mouse and keyboard.
Really?
So
I like how you broke that down.
Thank you.
a video
I don't
game.
know if you knew this.
They're putting a video game on a computer that you cannot use a mouse and keyboard. So you have to use a controller. Well, your controller has to plug in with a USB port. And I don't have any USB ports left on my computer, which means I would have to go buy a USB port extension, or you have to go out and buy a brand new controller that has Bluetooth connectivity.
That's crappy. That's a real
Just to
crappy.
play this game that you just bought that you can't use on the computer.
You know what I think would have been really a smart move for them in this situation? They should have said, "Oh, it's a PC. Maybe we should also port over and make the primary ability we should use GameCube controllers, right? Like you got to get an adapter that plugs in with a dual USB, then you plug the GameCube controller into the adapter, and that's how people should play Metal Gear Solid Volume 1 Collection Master Collection Volume 1. Gaming news story number 2. Final Fantasy 16 patch addresses the motion blur complaints.
Let's go.
Last week, we went over the fact that Final Fantasy 16 did not give an option for you to remove motion blur, leading many of its players to vomit and die due to being very sick from playing the game. I might have embellished some details. However, apparently they did put in a patch to the game because, we can't ship completed games anymore, that there's an option to turn off motion blur. And this happened, it looks like over the last week, and there's actually a slider now, it looks like a strength option to make it like you can choose how much motion blur you want. So maybe you can bring it down to here, and you'll find like your nausea line where you have just enough motion blur that doesn't make you throw up.
Yeah, I'm really only thinking I want slight seizures today. I'm gonna slide that down a bit.
Bring it up to like 75, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So now people are happy. So that's good.
Because they're conscious.
Or they can actually play the game that they paid for without throwing up.
Whew.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Apart from that.
Listen, hold on.
Oh, something else to add.
That would be a really good way for a kid in school to get out of going to school, is to play the game, get sick, and be like, "Mom, I'm throwing up. I can't go to school today."
Just throws the slider up to max at like 5 a.m. when he's getting up for school. Yeah, let's get into a boss battle. I've been there. Kids will do anything to get out of school.
I feel like you're simultaneously overestimating and underestimating the ingenuity of a kid going to middle school or high school. That's. I want a news story now that like a kid did that.
There's gonna be a news story of a kid who like rubber banded his controller for like a week straight, and he just has it so that his console's on a timer. It turns on when he gets up in the morning. He just sits up and watches it starts convulsing. And they're like, "Why did this happen?" For a week, they find his controller rubber banded. It's just motion blur on high, dude, circling super fast.
And that's the thing. He learned his mother's response time. So he has the Xbox or PlayStation set to shut off right before she busts in the room and finds him convulsing on the bed. She's not going to make her kid go to school. She doesn't know what's wrong with it. This kid's sick. This kid's throwing up everywhere. The cat's huddled in the corner, terrified.
I'm just saying, if my child was foaming at the mouth, my first question wouldn't be, "Is the PlayStation on?" So.
Right? That doesn't make any sense. Like, why would I think the PlayStation is causing my kid? Oh my gosh. That's just such an incredible. I'm glad they fixed it, good for them, but why did they have to be complained that complained at by thousands of players to add that. Like that couldn't have just been a why was that an afterthought? A lot
Now,
of people,
because we have hundreds of thousands of millions of viewers right now,
yeah,
we should put a public service announcement out there saying, kids, don't rubber band your controllers and mess with the sensitivity of the motion blur.
We
You
do
may
not
get sick.
condone
We do not
fake
condone any
getting sick.
actions. Yes.
Don't do what we say. Do the opposite of what we say, children.
Unless what we tell you is good, then do it.
Or don't. I'm not your father. Listen to your father.
I could be.
If your father's dead or gone out of the picture, listen to your mother. If you're an orphan, listen, I don't have any advice for you, but you probably don't have a PlayStation. So
go home. It's messed up.
Let's move on to news article number 3. We're just sticking to the kids right now. All right. So this one makes me particularly happy, and I'm not even that much of a Magic the Gathering fan. I really appreciate like the whole sentiment, the whole thought behind this that was put into this. I'm going to read you I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory here, but I'm going to read you the headline first, and that goes, Magic the Gathering's $2 million Lord of the Rings card has been found. Yes, Mr. Frodo, it's over now. So, the backstory of this article is the fact that recently Magic the Gathering has put out an expansion pack that is essentially drawing inspiration from other like worlds. Like there's actually like, I can't remember the actual name of the, it's like, I don't know if they're doing collaborations with a bunch of different people, but they're doing a Lord of the Rings collaboration. And they have this whole Lord of the Rings pack that's like Lord of the Rings characters and places, and like the lands are all like places in Middle-earth, that sort of thing. However, it's all like Lord of the Rings style. It has like Samwise, it has good old Frodo, Aragorn, Gandalf, all that. But like they have like all the normal lore for Lord of the Rings, but put in like Magic the Gathering form, and they're super cool. Like they're really interesting. And they decided to do something insane and print a single card. There's one unique card that they printed a single card of. One card. Ever.
Tell us what it is.
The One Ring. And this could not have been a cooler, smarter idea.
Oh,
and
yeah.
boy, the marketing, like, that's such a huge deal. The person who finds the One Ring card that they printed a single copy of, one is going to be rich immediately. So people are going to want to go out and buy the crap out of these. Because what if they're the person who gets that one card? Which you're not going to be. That's like, oh, I'm going to go play the lottery and actually win. But that makes millions of dollars. So, hey, I guess they're onto something. So, essentially, a dude finally found this card. And he got it sent in to the people, the PSA people. I think it was PSA that it got sent into. Which they essentially grade trading cards, whether it's sports cards, Pokemon, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, anything. You send it in, they will grade it, which essentially they have like a bunch of different like ways to grade a card. Like if there's scratches on it, that heavily brings it down. If the artwork is not centered within the borders of the card, that will you'll knock some points off, that sort of thing. The One Ring card was considered a mint 9 out of 10, which is pretty dang sweet. Because there's not going to be a better one, so like, good thing they didn't like horribly misprint the only card that they. I assume they had like some dudes in the back, in lab coats and everything, making sure this was printed perfectly. Because that's exactly how the printing.
So what caused it to be a 9 out of 10?
I don't have that information here. But it's
a lot of times, if that's the case, it's usually like there might have been like boxing around the edge of the card, or usually just kind of, I would say, very little wear or tear.
the difference between a 9 and 10 is so enormous because of how rare an actual perfect 10 is compared to a 9. A 9 is like everything's perfect but one thing, and so it can't get a perfect. A 10 out of 10 is like a perfect, there's nothing wrong with it. It straight up here says, the One Ring received a Mint 9 grading from the PSA, the second highest authentication available. While it seems unfortunate the card didn't gain a Mint 10 grading, achieving this status is incredibly difficult and relies on factors outside the owner's controls, like text positioning and printing standards. So it could be like one, like the text was like a pixel too far to the right, and they're like, yeah, it's a 9, baby. But yeah, it looks like that it currently has a bid up to $2 million for someone to purchase the card from this random dude who went into a shop and got rich.
Probably bought a pack for like $20.
Something like that. Yeah, so that's insane. And we don't really need to keep going on about it. But man, I just think that the fact that they did a Lord of the Rings set makes me really want to buy Magic the Gathering, and I've really never bought Magic the Gathering in the past, but boy, do I love it.
I've never played it either, but that is interesting now.
Yeah, I love it. It's so cool. It was such a cool idea by them, and I wouldn't be surprised if their stonks went like this a little bit after that, so good for them.
Ask and you shall receive.
Right. What's next on the list? Do we want to hop right into talking about our new game that we're playing for the podcast?
Yes.
Awesome. I think it's about time we do that. Everybody, ladies and gentlemen, did we, first of all, guys, did we say last week in the podcast, like, what game we're going to play?
Indeed.
Okay.
You're the one editing the video.
And I have a wonderful memory. So, see, I have a... my memory is quack. And pretty much all we can do is quack. So, my thought is... We're having a really good time with those too. So, all right, we can hop into this. So
I played as soon as we finished the podcast last week.
1 second. You can start. I want you to start, but we're
back
going
it
to
up. Put it in reverse, Terry.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to hop right into talking about the Talos Principle, which is the game that we are now playing for the podcast, and it's what we're going to be discussing from now on. So, what we did together as a group is we started the game, went through World 1, which acts as a tutorial. We played through World 2 and World 3, and that's about where we are. There are, I think, 6 or 8, I think 8 worlds per, like, section, and there's, like, 3 whole sections, like, 3 whole, like, buildings that you can go into, and they all have, like, a new kind of like terrain and everything, and like the world is different. But so we played the first 3 worlds, spent a couple hours this week, and we're going to talk about that now. So Josh, you wanna start us off here?
So I'm just going to read my notes. All right,
go for it.
Just going to read my notes.
Read your notes.
Let's hope you didn't skip anything this time.
Let me just say, the sound scared the crap out of me at the beginning of the game because it was way too loud. I was like, oh my gosh, and I had to take my headset off for a little bit. So once I got through the beginning of the game and I was able to get the settings, I was able to turn things down a little bit. Sound is pretty cool. I'm not saying it's bad. I like it. I like the music, the ambiance, everything. It's just the beginning sound when you start up the game was just blaring in my headphones. So that was the very first thing I noticed.
It kind of reminded me of the... sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. It kind of reminded me of the beginning, since we're all so old. Do you remember how you'd put in a VHS in your VCR, and there was that really loud noise at the beginning? Yeah, that's what it made me think of.
What was it, like the THX and the screen was black?
Something like that,
yeah. Yeah, and it's just like zoomed in on it or something. That thing was always loud. You always had to turn it down.
Oh, yeah.
So the beginning of the game is visually nice, and I love the voice of the creator. The very deep
Elohim
voice. Yes. It's a different game. I couldn't expect anything from it because I didn't know what to expect. So everything is just like, oh, okay, or that's cool. I got murdered almost instantly
As you should.
because I had no idea what the ball thingies that were like, they hum.
And then they go beep, 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 beep.
You are definitely the person to test that for sure.
Yep.
We do appreciate you testing that for science.
Well,
For those curious, these floating ball things are mines, and you get too close, they go boom.
Well, they're mines that have these, like, when you get too close, they shoot lasers out. And testing purposes, I found the radius of their lasers. So I learned that. The game seems almost like a biblical sense. But then when I got to the first sense, that when I got all of the first signals and unlocked that first computer, you found that gate. And it has all the emails and stuff from other people. So I'm not too sure what's going on right now. Because he talks to you from a biblical sense, calls you child. You're not a person in this game. You're a robot. He's like, hello, I am your creator, Ibrohim. Well, what was it?
Elohim.
Come on, Josh. You should know this.
I played like 2 hours, okay?
Josh, but it's
your
Elohim
background.
is also a name for God in the Bible.
I know, that's why I said it's biblical.
Ibrahim.
That's like the
my
Gen
name is
Z
Ibrohim.
term. That is the Gen Z term for God now. It's got to be Ibrohim.
Ibrahim. Ha ha.
All right, so what? Oh, hold on. What's his dude's name again?
Elohim.
All right, so that man, okay, he talks to you like he's God, which he isn't. But in the game, he talks to you like that. Okay.
You can only disprove things.
I'm sorry, continue.
True.
And provide evidence.
But then you get these little random computers, and they're like, it's like a national archive library. And there's all these emails on people creating AI systems and it failing or succeeding in different ways and just different things. So it's weird. It's like you constantly have this voice of your creator talking to you in a very biblical sense, but then you have these computers which are very human. So I'm interested to learn all that. The second computer you interact with when you go through the portal, number 2, it makes you take like 2 or 3 tests or something. Like it asks you a series of questions.
Yeah.
Your answers, does it change the outcome at all? Or no matter how you answer, is the outcome the same?
I'm going to be
Sounds
honest.
like you're entering spoiler territory.
If you don't want to tell us, don't. But I wasn't sure.
I think it will change something in the game, but I'm not going to say much more, and it's not something of huge consequence.
Well, because I was answering the questions, I'm like, I wonder if this is going to be like a Mass Effect thing, where my answers are going to determine something now or later on. So I just, when I was doing that, I thought to make a note of it. Found the little computer on the beach. There was a QR code. I like that. Have any of you seen the QR codes?
They're scattered all around throughout the game.
So I've found 3 of them so far. They basically bring up the Steam community page and people, like little chat groups within Steam. So it's cool because there's some sections where you walk up and you actually have to wipe the wall to get the QR code to show up. And there's other sections where the QR code's just there. So that was cool. I really like that implementation in the game. Me and Andrew talked about this a little bit. That little blue robot running around called recording NO23.V0186. He's a robot.
He's like a recording of a robot.
It's a recording.
Yeah, a little
it's
blue
like a blue
robot
hologram
called recording.
When you said it's a robot, I was like, but it's a recording. It's not a robot. It's a recording.
I wasn't sure of what it was at first. I don't know if it matters what it is. Once again, if it's something that we learn later on, don't tell us. But it was like the second portal, he was there. I'm like, oh, what's this guy doing? And then he's just running around. And so I followed him, and all of a sudden he disappeared. I'm like, well, where'd he go? So then I was like, no, I'm not going to look for him. I'm just going to go finish the puzzles. And then I came back, and I followed him again. And all of a sudden he went up this ramp, jumped off, and disappeared. So I'm like, I wonder if there's like a little Easter egg here or something. If I run up the ramp and jump off, and I did it, and nothing happened. I'm like, I don't understand the point of this. So I just finished, left that portal, and went back to the building. But I talked to Andrew, and he's seen a couple of them. He did the same thing and followed them around.
Yeah, I followed around one of them, the same one, and once it jumped and I saw it jump and disappear, I just kind of assumed there would eventually be some sort of portal or something that you would want to jump into, but it's going to have to do with, getting different items later in the game or something of the like. But you mentioned you took those personality quizzes. Do you remember what your results were? Because it does confirm it later.
I don't remember. I don't know if I'm there or not.
I think you might have just had to go to a couple more terminals because it asked you like 3 separate sets of questions, and then after that, once I found the next terminal, it said, "Hey, you have full access now."
Yeah.
And then it said, do you want to see the results of your personality? Well, it didn't say that, but it was something along the lines of, "Here's your results." And I looked at mine. It was basically told me I was a walking conundrum, which makes sense. They were like, you value creativity, but you don't want creative solutions. You want direct ones. And I'm like, yeah, well, direct solutions usually the best, bro. Why make it more complicated than it needs to be?
No, I probably read it, but I don't remember it because I would speed read through all the computers real quick and then just continue with the puzzle.
Yeah, I think it is good that you are, even if it seems like, I appreciate that you're going through the terminal and reading like the emails and whatever they are, because they add to the lore, and they add to like the background of like, you kind of slowly kind of learn who these people are and stuff like that. Did either of you, I believe it was World 2, walk into a glowing, it's not the portal, but it's like glowing white, like a round thing, and you walk into it and you hear a woman's voice? Alexandra Drennan?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, you want to always...
Because there's 2 of them in the beginning. Hers, and then like 3 or 4, there's another one of them. It's a voice recording.
Yeah, I played this week as well for those who are watching, and I almost caught up to where they are. I've played the game before in the past, so I'm less worried about that. I have an idea what's going on in the world, and like I just think it's a beautiful, wonderful game, and I'm glad that these 2 are getting to play, and I love hearing their insight on it. But this is the game that we're playing for the podcast now is the one that I had played before, and kind of bringing them into the fray here. But it's good that you guys are exploring. Exploring is very important in this game for certain things. I want to ask, have either of you yet found a star?
Yes.
Found, like, actually completed and gotten one, or have you just...
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I think I only got one now.
Yeah, I only have one too.
There are the sigils that you collect in all of the worlds, and obviously, like, when you get one in one of the puzzles, it marks off on the sign, and, like, you know that you've gotten that one. Those, you pretty much have to collect all of them to, like, beat the game, finish all the puzzles, blah, blah, blah. Every world has at least 1 star in it that you can collect, and it's normally something thinking outside of the box. Like, once in a while, there's a way to, say, remove a jammer from one of the puzzles and take it somewhere and, like, use it to unlock something else that you would not normally be able to do. Like, thinking outside of the box of, like, outside of the realm of, like, the scope of what they give you in the puzzles, there are, like, little things that you can pick up on over time. The stars are not necessary, but they're kind of like almost like a harder puzzles that I think technically unlock something later on that's not mandatory, but it's like, I think if you gather all the stars, you unlock like one last, like, really like harder level, that sort of thing. That's it doesn't require, you don't require it to beat the game, but it's more of like an Easter egg, or more like a something added into the game as like a, oh, good job, you collected all the stars, that sort of thing. But it's worth trying to go for, but they're definitely like harder and require more of like exploration to find, that sort of thing.
I think the star that we have is either Portal 2 or Portal 3.
I think
where
in
we
World
have it.
3 there are 2 stars, and one of them you can actually find the star in one of the puzzles.
Then
It's actually behind a
it's
gate.
that one.
That's probably
Yeah,
I think that's the one most people get first if they haven't like went crazy exploring, because excuse me, that I feel like almost it's a way to like introduce the stars to people, because if you were not aware that there were like hidden things in the world that you could find and kind of like unlock or that sort of thing, that one kind of shows you like it in a way introduces the stars to you, because it's not that hard to get. You pretty much just have to bring all 3 of the jammers like past the mine and the gun, and then like bring them all through these doors, and then like if you have all 3 of them instead of 2 of them, which is possible to do with just 2, but then you wouldn't get the star. So that's kind of like what happened with that one. But I'm assuming that's the one you've gotten. But if you go to the the hall of portals, essentially, like the with the blue, like there's the portals and like the blue holographic walls that say 1, 2, 3, 4 denotes what world it is. The sign outside of each of those portals also will show you if you have a star and if you've gotten it or not.
Yeah.
So so if you ever like, they're not necessary, but if you guys want to go for them and like try to find them, it's fun. I think it's fun at least. So that is in addition. So I was curious since.
Well, Andrew, didn't you say you went out of the world on the same map that blue guy was running around?
Oh yeah, that was one of the first things I did, knowing I was gonna die. Was I wanted to
into the ocean?
I have a huge actual fear of open water, so I didn't want to do it. And then I had one of my friends over. They were like, "Just do it. Stop being a punk." And I was like, "All right." And I started walking and then stopped, which was weird because I wasn't drowning or something, which I thought I would. But I saw like somebody was saying something, so I had turned on the captions, and it was just like a really cryptic biblical warning not to keep walking. And then I was like, "Huh."
Elohim.
And then I kept walking, and then I short circuited and went like rewound time and came back.
Elohim does not take kindly to you leaving the places he's prepared for you.
Yeah.
I gotta say, the recording of the blue robot, the first thing I thought about was like old racing games. Your trial,
your ghost.
Your ghost that you could race against. That's the first thing I thought about.
Good thinking. I like that line of thinking.
The next point I have is I unlocked the elevator to the 3 buildings with the giant tower. And then there is one world where you are introduced to your first red piece, and I can't get it yet because I need to get a key.
I don't know if Andrew's there yet or not, but
I'm pretty sure. I was going to mention, I thought I saw a red piece because I got it. I got a couple of them. But yeah, I think I completed one of the red piece things because you had to get so many of them. I could be wrong, but I do remember that. And I think on the outside of said world that you get it on, where it'll show you if you got your stars, I think it tells you if you got the pieces there too.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Well, I think you get 3 red pieces pretty easily, if what I'm thinking. But there's one where you walk through the gate and the little mine is going left and right, and you have to open up the one door for it to go all the way in. And then you pull the jammer off and it closes, and then you go up these stairs and you can go down the stairs, and there's a locked fence right there, and it looks like a maze with mines constantly moving around it. And that's the one red piece in the middle of that I can't get yet because I need keys for it.
You get the keys there, I'm pretty sure.
The one that you're describing, you described that pretty well. I know what you're talking about. There are keys in the middle of there, which are used for that puzzle. To unlock,
you got to get the keys.
Yeah, but there's 2 locked doors on that puzzle. If you go up that ramp, instead of going down the other side, you go left, and there's a door up there with the puzzle piece behind it. That's where the red piece is.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it. If you go down, there's another locked place.
It's not a locked door. You need the jammer. It's a blue force
for
field.
the door.
It's not a locked door into that. I know what you're talking about. It looks like a little maze, and there's like some mines going around it, and there's keys.
Yeah, and the keys are in the middle of that.
You bring the jammer over. There's not a locked door there. I think you're misremembering.
Are you sure?
I just did this puzzle.
Yeah, I'm 100% sure because I'm pretty sure once you grab that on the like sign outside of the door, I think you get like it'll show you like how many stars you have, And I think it shows like a red dot if you get that piece, or a red little symbol of some sort.
Yeah, but
yeah, I know.
So that's actually in World 3, so it doesn't seem like you've completely finished World 3. But that's the thing about this game is many of the worlds you don't have to complete directly in order. Like if you ever get stuck on a puzzle, you can also move on to something else. I
swear that was a locked gate and not a blue.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
There is a locked gate there.
There is a locked gate up the stairs.
Yeah, to get to the piece, but I swear down the other side of the steps.
No. You shouldn't swear, man.
But next time you load it up, whenever you play it again for like next week, we can talk about it. But you want to definitely check out that puzzle because it will. You'll basically just need to figure out how to get a jammer to get into there to grab the keys and then deal with the rest of the puzzle. That's actually my favorite early game puzzle because everything else is so simple up to that point, and then they throw this one in, and I'm like, this one is requires so much more like complex thinking than the other ones up to this point, at least in my opinion. I thought it was really cool.
I agree. That was the first unique trophy that popped for me because the Elohim was like, you don't always have to finish everything you start. And I was like, oh, well, bull crap. Now I'm sitting here and doing it. And then it gave me some trophy, and it was like something about having the perseverance to finish when you could have left or something like that.
Nice. I wonder if that's like if you take a long time in a puzzle or something like that.
I think that's what it was. I took a while to get that one.
Yeah, well, that one's a little bit like you don't expect it. Like it sneaks up on you whenever the rest of them have been pretty straightforward. It's like, oh, you do a couple things and it's good. But that one is like there is a specific set order, and you also learn something you can do that I don't want to spoil it because Josh has to finish that puzzle, but you learn something you can do that you didn't realize you could do before, that sort of thing. Because they've not really added like height before to any of the puzzles, and now they have. So it's cool. It just continues getting more complex, but you also like are gaining this knowledge and understanding of these tools that the game gives you. So things get more complex, but you are always like able to see, oh, well, I know how to do this. I've seen this in the past. They're just adding it with all these other things. So it's honestly, I love this game. I feel like I can only play it every few years though, because it's like pretty. Like, once you've played it, like, if I played it and then I played it again in a month, I'd probably remember how to do half the puzzles, because it's, like... But the overall story and the ambiance and, like, the kind of the lore and the world building of it and the way that they kind of portray information to you, I think is super cool. But I definitely suggest always going to the terminals, that you'll know if there's any information or, like, new things to read or whatever, because they'll be going, like, doo-doo, beep, boop, beep,
yeah.
Boop. So then you'll hear that from like afar, and you can walk up to it and there'll be like an eye on the computer. But it's definitely worth, like I said, exploring, and always worth reading into the terminals and such. It's a good time though. I'm glad you guys seem to be enjoying it so far.
Oh yeah, and I believe it was World 3. It's whichever world that when you start off, you're kind of at the bottom of a hill. There's a terminal directly in front of you, slightly to your left. 4.
World 4.
Okay, yeah. So I started World 4, but I didn't do a puzzle. Yeah, because I didn't finish it because I just instantly looked behind me and I was like, ooh, there's beach down behind me. So I start like platforming up and down, and I get like maybe 5 feet from the ground, and I'm like, yeah, surely I can fall here and touch the beach and run around. No. And I was like, man, come on. You even gave me all these platforms on purpose to tease me, you bum. And then I can't even get to where you want. Brilliant design. Irritating execution when I couldn't touch the ground.
Elohim says no.
Yeah, he's a jerk. Yeah, he's a false deity.
Yeah.
He gets spited.
Indeed. Anybody else have anything else to add to your experience of Talos Principle so far?
No, that was all my talking points for that.
I mean, I had pretty similar. The first couple worlds just have pretty, basic puzzle mechanics of this is what you can do early on, and then I'd imagine probably after we get close to finishing that first whole section is when it's going to start being more challenging, because right now it's just the building blocks and principles of what you can and can't do.
Exactly. You'll also unlock new tools like the jammer. There's also other things like the.
I already unlocked the new tool.
Yeah.
What did you get?
I don't know what it's called, but it's the one on the left. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is going to be
I haven't used it yet.
Completely new mechanic in the game, and so it's probably going to have some.
Maybe I did play
easier puzzle. Some of World 4.
Yeah, I think I might have, because I did use that tripod.
Yeah, I haven't used it yet. All I did was unlocked it. It fell through the floor, and then I walked through the portal 4, and then I
Gotcha.
just shut
That's
the game
where you
off.
Yeah, because you had to refract the lasers. I
Mhm.
did use it. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so essentially, I mean, I'm not going to go too far into it because Josh hasn't really had a chance to use it. But yeah, it's going to unlock a lot of different unique like puzzle types, and I think it mostly gives you those at first so you can learn them and learn what you can and can't do with them, and then it starts combining them with jammers, and then later on it'll add more to it. So then things start getting more complex because you have to like balance all these different tools that the game gives you to like figure out how to solve puzzles. It's really cool. It definitely picks up over time. But yeah, I specifically, I really, ooh, spooky. I really enjoy the voice files you get of Alexandra. It's Alexandra or Alexandria Drennan. You'll pick up a lot of them throughout, but you start to like. There's so few like actual like bits of anything that have to do with human interaction. Like you get to read words that seem to have been written by people however long ago in the past of this super corrupted archive. It said there's like 10 gigabytes left of files out of like an initial 5.4 petabytes of data that essentially that much has been corrupted since. We don't really know exactly how many years it's been since whatever happened and then like how things are now. Like you don't, because you kind of start off waking up. Like it's like bright and then you see your hand in front of your face and you stand up. So it's like almost like you were asleep. The game starts to like slowly feed you information about the world, that sort of thing, and you get to have a better understanding as to what's going on, which I think is really cool. It's done really well. But overall, the only real human interaction apart from Elohim, which doesn't even seem like a person, you get these like voice files once in a while that you'll come across of this Alexandra Drennan, this old like AI researcher, head supervisor, whatever she was. There's like a employee list email or whatever that you read at one point, and it says she's some like high up in whatever company this was. And you just kind of like get to hear about her life back then, and it's very interesting because the world is so devoid of humanity as of this point. You're not even a human. You get these little tidbits of like text from back then, but apart from that, it's like you have Elohim and yourself. Mm-hmm. So I really enjoy how they add those little bits of the past in the game. It's real cool though. I'm looking forward to you guys getting a little bit deeper into it.
This week's fantasy draft.
This week's
This week's fantasy draft is going to be your number 1 and number 2 choice, as we always do, of what animal you would have as a pet. Would it be as safe and like easy to deal with as a house cat?
Do I go Andrew, then you, sure. Andrew, me?
All right. That'll do it.
Number 1 pick, easy. Also was one of my favorite books growing up as a kid, Penguin.
Penguins are great. You know what? I give that my seal of approval. I do love penguins. They're probably my favorite animal.
Mr. Popper's Penguins, that book where he won a radio contest or something, got a bunch of penguins, and then he like they made a movie out of it. They tricked his apartment into like a skating ring to keep the penguins nice and cold. Penguin. I'd take a penguin 100%.
So I know for mine. Oh, did you have something to add, Nathan? I'm sorry.
No, I said classic.
Nice. So for mine, there's one that I wanted to pick, but I know you can already own it as a house pet. So I'm not going to go with that because I want something that I currently couldn't own. So we'll give that an honorary mention at the end. But number 1 for me would have to be a polar bear. Like, if I could ride a bear, like, wrestle around and get beat up by a bear, but still have it as my buddy, like, I would want something like that. It was,
Wait a minute.
Know what?
I thought they were, like, they had to be as safe as a cat.
No. They are as safe as a cat.
So we can pick any animal we want.
Yes. He's saying in theory, if you could have any animal, yeah. We went over
I
this
took
like
a
4
penguin
times.
because I thought it would be a
This is
safe
a-
option from killing the entire family.
No, this is a theoretical world where
Okay.
the animal you pick
Okay.
will not harm you or others. Like, it's going to be safe and as
That's
easy to
fine.
take care of as a house cat.
I
Penguin's
already
still a
have
fun
my
choice.
second one.
Penguin's still a
You
fun
know what?
choice.
I
so-
say you can pick another one because I actually made a little error on the one that I wanted to choose, so we can give a restart if you want. Because I realized I said
let's
the
just
wrong
keep
type
what
of
we
bear,
have.
but I got to stick with it. So yeah. Cool.
Polar bear is a fun choice, being one of the most dangerous creatures on Earth.
Yeah.
And the only reason that we don't have constant polar bear attacks is because nobody lives up there. Very few people do. Boy, those are the only bear species that will actively hunt humans. Do you know that? It's not a good fact. It's a terrible fact. Those things are horrifying. They live up there in the we're not on this isn't Animal Fact Corner. My number one choice,
Animal Planet.
Animal Planet, would be a red panda.
I'm giving you the clap because that was going to be my second choice. You bum.
Oh no!
Wait a minute. Wait, hold on. Did you just say you're giving him the...
I'm very sorry, Andrew, and I may have to. You can still pick red panda. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you
Well,
wanna come up
Nathan,
with
you still have
something
to pick your second one.
I know. Listen, man. I have a second one. And just listen to me. Hear me out. Red pandas are the cutest animal on Earth.
They really
I mean,
are.
I did.
when they stand up.
Okay, hold on. I'm not going to show it.
They
It's
do it
not
to be
worth
threatening, but they
yeah.
make it so cute.
Oh my gosh, it's ridiculous. They don't realize how cute they are. Gosh, I love them so much. They are, I think, not technically legal to own, and they're not dangerous, but they're just like not. They're not definitely not the kind that you would like. They're not like a cat. Like cats are so easy to take care of. So I think normally they're just in zoos and wherever they are in the wild. They might be endangered, which is partially probably a reason why you can't have one as a pet. I just love them. They're probably actually my favorite animal. I'm in love with red pandas, and you can sue me. My second choice is a blue whale.
A blue whale. How would you go about
Blowhole.
owning a blue whale?
So listen, part of the wording I used was as easy to take care of as a house cat. I don't know, but in this world, it is. So why would I not pick a blue whale? It's the largest animal to ever exist on Earth.
How would you enjoy yourself with a blue whale is a priority question for me.
Feet first into the blowhole, sit on its back, drive through the ocean on a blue whale. Is going to take me under sometimes, come back
They
up
have
to,
just
to
a
breathe.
steering wheel mechanism inside their blowhole, and you're completely safe
This
in the
is already
blowhole of a whale.
No.
Why don't you just stay in its mouth? Because is there water in its mouth when it submerges?
Yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure blowholes like close up when they go underwater, so water doesn't get into them. So I'm gonna be a little bit smashed.
You're
However,
definitely getting the air horn for that one.
Blue whale research.
Listen, I didn't think this out that well. All I want is a blue whale. Andrew, what is your second choice?
That's fair. Second choice. So it was going to be the dang red panda, but you snagged him from me. So second choice. So my honorable mention. I at least know that off topic.
Nope.
My honorable mention.
Unless you want this to be your second choice, mention this after.
Oh, you know what? I wish you the best, Nathan. That's all I can say.
I love you
too. So let's see. Next best thing. Not very intimidating. Not very fun in theory. But I might pick an ostrich.
Oh.
They are a flightless bird, but they're like one of the faster land animals that a human could ride very easily. They can carry the capacity of a normal maybe not me, but a normal human being can ride an ostrich. And if I can either find a beefy enough ostrich or lose enough weight to ride an ostrich, going down a street. Yeah. Going down a street, if someone's riding like a tiger or a bear, you're like, that guy's cool. But if someone's riding an ostrich running pretty fast, you're like, what is this guy up to? And just the sheer look factor, I'm like, yeah, for sure. That's why I chose ostrich.
What you got there? Smoothie.
Good old Spencer.
Joshua, what is your second choice for an animal? An Animal Planet.
Well, this would have been my first choice if I knew we could pick anything. So my second choice would be an African elephant.
Oh gosh.
Eh.
Just go move to like India, bro, and get a bunch of money, and you can own an elephant.
I don't know enough about the topic to refute that, but
Sad horn for racism, Josh. I don't like that.
What's racist?
Yeah, what were you singing there, bud?
You said go to India. Isn't that what they
listen to more than just that song and that music. There are people too, believe it or not.
What are you going to do with your African elephant?
I'm going to just ride it. And then if like there's a car in my way, he's going to flip it. Going to use his tusk and be like, move, get out the way.
You're going to train him
also,
to do that?
I should probably bring up the fact that I did say that he said he wanted an African elephant. I said go to India and buy it. But you can find an African elephant in Africa much more available than you could in India or anywhere else in the world.
I wasn't gonna call you out on that. So
Call me out on it.
You did yourself. That's fine.
Yeah.
Cool. I think this really fits our personalities.
No doubt. Honorable mention, I would love to have like an otter, like a sea otter for a pet.
Why didn't you just say that?
Because you can already legally own one just fine.
You can legally own a sea otter?
Yeah. Or otter, sea lion,
river
otter.
otter?
Yeah, otter. River otter. Yeah. You can own those in most
For real?
states. Mm-hmm.
That's blowing my mind right now. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then you could get their little tiny paws to like handshake you and stuff and grab a little
Let's buy
food
one
and they
for the
scritch.
Podcast.
They're kind of annoying. That's why I don't have one. They're like an extremely needy little tiny dog that always makes like scritchy noises and like but kind of makes cat noises, like kind of meows, but really annoyingly.
They're like large wet ferrets. Ferrets.
Yes, they are kind of like wet ferrets.
Ferrets.
Squirrel use water gun on a ferret. Yeah, so that's something. Listen, if I have to throw out an honorable mention myself, it's gonna be a Komodo dragon because that's just cool. I mean, come on, those things are terrifying.
I think they eat them.
What?
I hope not. Who's they?
Who eat?
Are we being racist again,
Aren't
Joshua?
the Komodo dragons like the real large iguanas?
There's so much more than that. So they're the largest, from my understanding, largest reptile on Earth. They're very large iguanas.
I think over in Asia they hunt them and they kill them with like blow darts, and then they eat them.
When you said they hunt them, the last thing we talked about was the otter, and I was like, "There's no way an otter hunts a Komodo
That would
dragon."
be incredible.
I would have to imagine it's like
20 of
equipped
them.
with a bunch of little primal weapons. Like it's got its own little spear, and it's got like a tactical vest with little smoke grenades or something.
I like it. Bro, what's your problem with spending $10 on every Halo ever made?
I don't think I'm going to play every Halo ever made.
But you could have any of them.
I think I'm cool with the one that I have for free right now.
It's just such a good deal, man. But
Yeah,
that's fine.
I never got too much into Halo, so I'm just down with the free one.
All right. So that's the one good thing about Infinite being free is that I can play with homies who don't want to spend actual money on a Halo or like 6.
You're looking at the cheap homie
Halo titles
right
for
here.
$10, but that's not Steam Summer Sale is.
I will not have Steam convince me to buy games that I won't play. I'm going to remain as steadfast as possible.
We could play the Halos sometime for.
We can play the free one already. That's probably better than those.
We can play the Halo, play through the Halo campaigns as the actual game we play on the podcast. I'm just saying.
Well, maybe someone should have suggested it for their game to play. They did not.
Josh seems to want to do the outro, so let's do it.
It's been a good day.
I'm Andrew.
It's
Andrew, are you sure that your mother's not the
I'm
one with
Jeffy.
Tourette's? And maybe she passed it down to Andrew?
It's hereditary.
Nathan.
I'm
We love
Nathan.
you.
Okay, let's actually end this though. I feel like every time we just like sit here and like stare at each other like, oh, what are we gonna do at the end of the podcast? Like,
All right, Nathan, drop it like it's hot.
I will drop it like it is lukewarm. Thank you all for watching once again the My Mother Has Tourette's podcast, or My Mom Has Tourette's podcast if you don't like the term mother for some reason, because maybe it brings back some bad memories of your mother who demanded you call her mother, and then she did some bad things to you. I don't know. I don't know your past. I don't know your history. But I will say, we do appreciate having you here, listening to our podcast, watching our beautiful bearded faces, and coming back and having a good time with us. And we're just going to continue playing Talos Principle throughout the next couple of episodes. And
We're probably going to beat the game.
I mean, that's ideal. If they like it enough to finish it, like, it's definitely worth finishing. So we're looking forward to...
Continue.
Well, we didn't finish
Andrew's
the Tarkov. We definitely didn't finish the Tarkov story.
I see what he did there, because there isn't one.
So thank you all for watching. We appreciate having you here and saying, wow, this is a chaotic outro. Thank you. I'm Nathan. This was a good time.
I'm Josh. This was fun.
Andrew.
Good night.
Goodbye, I
I'm
guess.
Andrew.
Josh wants to leave.
And I'm
We
Nathan.
love you.
Bye-bye. Wait. That's way too high.
You ever see that old Vine clip where the guy was like, "Welcome to Target"?